was coming at you about choking because they had too much ammo for you. So it's like, I wasn't there. Now, damn sure ain't gonna come to somebody about they.
The tension in the room was almost palpable. Even with the cameras rolling, the bright lights shining down, and the crew bustling around, something was off. What was meant to be just another taping of a popular reality show had turned into something much more intense. For Yandy and Rasheeda, everything around them seemed to fade away. It was just the two of them caught in a battle that had been building for a long time. Yandy had always been known for her strength, but tonight that calm and control she usually held was slipping away. You could feel it like the calm before a storm, ready to explode at any moment. Drama had always followed Yandy and Rasheeda, but this time it was different, more intense, more personal. With everything unfolding in the public eye, it felt like their world was slowly falling apart. For years, Rasheeda had been there for Yandy, always by her side as a friend and confidante, but their relationship with MDC had never been simple. The bond between Rasheeda and Em was undeniable, a connection rooted in a shared past that had always been there, quietly simmering just beneath the surface. But when Say became involved with Yandy, things began to shift and Rasheeda could feel the change happening. Yandy had tried to be supportive, she really had. But it wasn't long before doubt started creeping in about Em's loyalty and the choices he was making, especially now with cameras capturing every single second. Rasheeda's sharp words cut through the air like a knife, making Yandy's chest tighten. This wasn't the usual playful back and forth that defined their friendship. Something had shifted. Rasheeda's frustration with Em's decisions had been growing for a while, and now she wasn't even trying to hide it. Every look, every word felt pointed, carrying a sting that was impossible to ignore. "Why do you always have something to say about Em?" Yandy's voice shook as she finally let her frustration show. For as long as she could remember, Rasheeda had been quick to point out Em's flaws, blaming him for every problem they faced. And now, Yandy had had enough. "Don't act like you know what's best for me," she snapped, her emotions boiling over. "I'm the one dealing with his mistakes, his baggage, and everything from his past, not you." The words tumbled out, raw and unfiltered, after years of keeping it all inside. But Rasheeda just laughed, a cold, dismissive laugh that made Yandy's anger burn even hotter. "You've been stuck in this relationship for way too long," Rasheeda shot back, her tone full of judgment. Rasheeda rolled her eyes, but Yandy wasn't about to let it slide. She had reached her breaking point, and this time she wasn't holding back. "You all love to have opinions," Yandy said, her voice steady at first, then rising with each word. "But you've only ever watched from the sidelines. It's easy to sit there and judge when you've never been in my shoes. You don't know what we've been through." Her voice cracked, but she pushed on. "I've had to forgive things you wouldn't even understand, and yet here you are, acting like you have it all figured out." The tension in the room was impossible to ignore. It was as if the air itself had grown heavy, charged with every unspoken word and unresolved feeling. Yandy stood her ground, her emotions laid bare, as Rasheeda looked on, unflinching. The tension between the two women was unbearable. The room felt heavy with unspoken grudges and unresolved emotions. For years, Rasheeda's presence in Em's life had stirred a quiet rivalry and jealousy that Yandy had tried to ignore. But now it was all bubbling to the surface. "You think you're the only one who's had to deal with this?" Rasheeda shot back, her voice laced with anger. "And you think I don't know what it's like to be with someone who keeps messing up? He's hurt both of us, Yandy, and I'm tired of watching you pretend he's changed. You're letting him pull you down." The words hit Yandy like a punch to the gut. For a split second, she wanted to shout, to blame Rasheeda for all the hurt and chaos she brought into her life, but she held back. She couldn't afford to fall apart, not with the cameras recording every second. On the outside, she stood firm, but inside it felt like her world was crumbling. Everything she had fought so hard to hold onto, her relationship, her dignity, her strength was slipping away, piece by piece. Yandy had been holding everything together for so long, but today it felt like the dam was finally about to burst. Rasheeda's constant meddling, mixed with the chaos that always seemed to follow her, had pushed Yandy to her breaking point. The argument exploded, their voices growing louder and more bitter with every word. Accusations flew back and forth like knives, each one cutting deeper than the last. The crew stood frozen in the background, unsure of what to do. They could see it all unraveling, years of built-up tension and silent battles for respect and control now crashing down. This wasn't just an argument, it was the collapse of something that had been fragile for a long time. And there was no easy way to fix it. Finally, Yandy stormed off, her face a mix of anger and heartbreak. She didn't say another word, didn't even look back. Yandy was completely drained, feeling like everything was falling apart as the cameras kept rolling, capturing every second of the drama. Rasheeda's anger was barely hidden, but for Yandy, the real struggle was just beginning. It wasn't just about Em or Rasheeda anymore, it was about trying to figure out how to handle the mess her life had turned into and if she could even trust herself again. It seemed like Yandy had lost the fight to keep her family together. Rumors were flying that Em was fed up with calling her his wife and had gone back to Erica, the woman he truly loved. Things were starting to get messy, with some people even suggesting that Em and Erica might have secretly gotten married. Yandy's pride had been the only thing keeping her in the marriage, but now that Em had moved in with Erica, it felt like she was losing control. So not only was she confronting Em for hurting her, but she was also sending Erica a clear warning: stay away from my man, or you'll see exactly what happens when we meet face to face. Take a seat and let me explain what's been happening. Em was released from prison earlier this year after serving time for drug-related charges. While he was locked up, Yandy worked tirelessly to keep their family together, doing everything on her own with little support. She gave it her all, hoping that once Em was free, they could finally enjoy their marriage. She even went to therapy to work through their issues, believing that things could get better. But as the saying goes, once a cheater, always a cheater. Instead of appreciating Yandy's loyalty and all the sacrifices she made, Em decided to move on with Erica, Yandy's biggest rival. If you've been following their story, you know that Em refusing to set boundaries with Erica is the main reason Yandy and Erica have been at odds for so long. A messy love triangle has been building, and Yandy has been in denial about the state of her marriage. She knows Em is still seeing Erica and hasn't been completely honest with her, but her pride keeps her from facing the truth. It's a tough situation, and the tension just keeps building. She acts like she's the only woman in his life, but we all know that's not true. She's great at pretending everything is fine, but behind the scenes, things are far from perfect. Before Yandy came along, Erica was with Em. In fact, Erica and Em shared a history that's hard to ignore. When things were rough for Em, he needed someone stable, someone who truly cared. Samantha revealed that Erica was one of the few women Em ever really loved. Erica has said that she and Em once lived together, had matching tattoos, traveled the world, and even met each other's families. She was fully committed, even helping to raise his first child when Samantha wasn't around. Despite marrying Yandy, Em never fully let go of his past with Erica. Now that he's out of prison and back on his feet, there are rumors that he left Yandy to start a new life with Erica. Manny always told Yandy that he stayed in the marriage because he felt he had to, not because he loved her. She had been there for him through everything, fixing his problems and even getting caught up in drama with his baby mamas. But Manny admitted that if their roles were switched, he would never have supported her the way she had supported him. Yandy had tolerated his mother's disrespect and worked hard to raise his kids, but Manny felt like it was time for things to change. So he went to his mother, Judy, hoping she'd understand. But Judy wasn't having it. She defended her actions, saying she was provoked. Manny wasn't buying it. He knew his mom had crossed the line. With a heavy heart, Manny told Judy, "I love you, but this can't keep going." He made it clear that respect had to come first, and he asked her to leave. He knew it would be tough, but he had to choose his family's peace and stability. Judy was furious. She felt betrayed, thinking this would be a wake-up call. The family felt the emotional weight of her leaving. It was a hard moment, but Manny believed it was the right step for everyone's future. Even though Manny stood by his decision, the guilt weighed on him. He opened up to his close friends about the fight with his mom and how fed up he was with the constant tension between her and Yandy. "I've tried everything to make it work, but I can't keep dealing with this disrespect in my own home," he told them. On the other side, Judy turned to her own support system, feeling hurt and angry. She felt disconnected from her son and believed Yandy was playing some kind of game. With tears in her eyes, she said, "I raised him, how could he choose her over me?" This emotional moment just added more tension to the already complicated situation in the Harris family. It made clear how hard it is to find the right balance between love, loyalty, and respect in a blended family. The fight wasn't just affecting Manny and Yandy, it was impacting the whole family, making everything feel even more challenging. The final season of Love Hip Hop had the Atlanta cast sharing their thoughts on Yandy and Judy's situation. Some cast members supported Yandy, while others understood Judy's feelings as a mom who felt left out. Fans couldn't help but wonder if Judy and Yandy would eventually make peace or if they would continue to grow apart as the season went on. Many hoped for some healing between them, but others weren't so sure, seeing how the same issues kept resurfacing in the household. One thing's for sure, the drama is far from over. Yandy and Judy's journey is going to be tough, with all the challenges they face when it comes to love, loyalty, and family. On Love Hip Hop New York, Em and Yandy have always been seen as the perfect couple, even though they've had their share of struggles like Em's legal issues and his long prison sentence. Through it all, they stayed loyal to each other, facing the pressures of fame and family together. Their relationship earned them a lot of praise, but as we all know, things in the entertainment world are rarely as simple as they seem. On the outside, Em and Yandy seemed like the perfect couple, but behind closed doors, things were starting to unravel. The first sign of trouble came when Em posted something cryptic on social media, hinting that something wasn't right in their marriage. Fans quickly started guessing what it could mean, but no one could have predicted the chaos that was coming. Just a few days later, Em dropped a bombshell video that left everyone in shock. Things took an even bigger turn when Em accused Carlos King, a well-known reality TV producer, of having a much closer relationship with Yandy than anyone knew. While Carlos and Yandy had worked together professionally, Em claimed there was more to it. He didn't just make the accusations, he backed them up with what he said were screenshots of texts and emails between Yandy and Carlos. Em said these messages revealed a level of closeness that went far beyond business. Some of the texts even had things like, "I can't stop thinking about you," and "spending time together leaves little to the imagination." As the drama continued, Em added fuel to the fire by sharing several pictures he said were taken during private meetings between Yandy and Carlos. While some people believe the pictures could have been innocent, Em's version of events painted a very different story. Yandy didn't stay quiet for long. In a live stream, she opened up about how hurt she was that Em chose to share their personal problems with the world. With clear emotion in her voice, she denied any wrongdoing and explained that, while she was close to Carlos, their relationship had never been romantic. She described him as a friend and mentor, but nothing more. "It feels so unfair to turn our working relationship into something it's not," Yandy said, clearly upset. "I've stood by Em through everything, and being accused like this feels like a huge betrayal of the trust we've built." As the rumors continued to spread, Carlos finally broke his silence. In a well-prepared statement, he denied ever having an improper relationship with Yandy, but even with his denial, the tension between everyone only seemed to grow. Carlos, who's always been professional with Yandy, spoke up to defend her. He made it clear that the accusations were unfounded and didn't hold any weight. "I've worked with Yandy for years, and I've always respected her as a professional and a friend," he said. "I hope Em and Yandy can work this out privately." Carlos also admitted he was disappointed to be dragged into their personal drama, saying he never wanted to be part of a marital dispute. But the effects of these accusations have gone way beyond just Em and Yandy's relationship. Their kids, who've been on Love Hip Hop, are now caught in the media frenzy. While some family and friends are standing by the couple, others are suggesting they might need to get professional help to resolve things. Yandy supporters argue she's always been there for Em, especially during his tough legal battles, so she should be given the benefit of the doubt. However, some people believe Em's side based on the evidence he presented. No matter where you stand, it's clear that the pressures of fame and constant public attention are making things harder for both of them. When relationships are in the spotlight like this, issues that may have been there for a long time can get worse and new problems can emerge. The pressure of being on reality TV has definitely taken a toll on Em and Yandy's relationship, and we can't ignore the role social media has played. Millions of people have weighed in on something that should be a private issue, and that has only made things worse. This situation has brought up bigger questions about where privacy stands in today's world of constant digital sharing. Right now, no one knows what's going to happen between Em and Yandy. Both have said they want to focus on their family, but after trust is broken, it's hard to rebuild. The fact that everything is happening in the public eye only makes things more complicated. Fans are hoping that Em and Yandy can figure things out, whether they stay together or part ways peacefully. What really matters now is providing a stable and secure home for their kids while navigating the fallout from everything that's been revealed. What started as a normal family dinner turned into something much bigger, and it's clear that Em and Yandy have a long road ahead. The atmosphere in the room shifted dramatically when MC's son suddenly interrupted. With frustration and anger in his voice, he dropped a bombshell that left everyone in shock. "You're the reason Yandy cheated on you," he said, his words heavy with accusation. The room went completely silent as everyone tried to take in what was just said. Yandy, visibly hurt and angry, quickly denied the claim. "Where is this even coming from?" she asked, struggling to keep her cool. But the son wasn't done. He went on, blaming her for betraying the family and even accusing Em of not being strong enough to be a good father and husband. Em, shocked by his son's bold accusations, stepped in to try to defuse the situation. "If you're going to accuse Yandy of something like this, you better have proof," he said, trying to stay calm despite the rising tension. But his son was beyond reasoning. "You've always been so caught up in your own problems, you didn't even see what was really going on," he yelled, his frustration spilling over. This was a turning point, and the room was left in a heavy silence, everyone unsure of what would happen next. The tension in the room exploded when the son's anger flared up, fueled by Yandy's words. "You've been tearing this family apart, and he's too blind to see it," he yelled. His frustration was spilling over, and it seemed like nothing could stop the argument now. Em could feel his authority as the head of the family slipping away, and the emotional jabs just kept coming. Yandy, overwhelmed by everything, broke down in tears. Her sobs filled the room, and the son, shocked by what was happening, turned to his father, realizing just how bad things had gotten. In a moment of intense emotion, Em's anger got the better of him, and he struck his son. The room fell completely silent, and everything seemed to freeze. Em stood there, shaken by his own actions. "I can't believe it's come to this," he said, regret in his voice. Yandy, still in tears, tried to comfort him even as she struggled with her own pain. But the son wasn't backing down. "I love you," he said, his voice strong but sad, "but I can't let this kind of disrespect continue in my home." The air was thick with tension, and it was clear that this moment had changed everything. The family was fractured, and it seemed like there was no going back from here. Things took a turn for the worse when Em asked his son to leave, hoping that some space would help him understand the weight of his actions. The son, hurt and confused, packed his bags without saying another word and walked out, leaving the house filled with heavy silence. Even though Yandy supported M's decision, she couldn't hide the pain in her heart. She told a friend, "I feel like I've lost a part of my family. I don't know if we can ever fix this." It was clear that the emotional toll was too much for her to handle. M wasn't faring any better. He questioned whether he made the right call and found himself lost in his thoughts, asking, "Did I do the right thing?" The guilt was eating him up, and he admitted to his closest friends, "I feel like I failed as a husband and a father." It was a tough place to be in, having to defend his wife and his home at the expense of his own son. As word of the family drama spread, Love and hip-hop fans couldn't help but share their opinions. Some felt for Ems' son, while others sided with M. The online world became a battleground of emotions, with everyone having their say. The family's pain was now out in the open, and everyone was left wondering if they could ever find their way back to each other. The road to healing seemed long and uncertain, but the story was far from over. The drama in the Harris family is heating up, and fans are divided on what's going down. After Ems' son accused Yandy of cheating, things took a turn. Some people understood Ems' decision to defend his wife, saying he had to do what was necessary to keep her respect. But others weren't so forgiving, blasting him for using physical force. Striking your son is never the answer, they said, no matter what the situation was. The whole incident raised questions about Yandy's role in the family. She's always been the one holding things together, but after this, some wondered if she could keep it up. One fan pointed out that the Harris family is struggling to handle their pain in public, and this new conflict only made things worse. M, however, is committed to fixing things. He's determined not to let this break his family. Yandy, despite everything, is trying to be the one to mend the relationship between M and his son. After her son left, M reached out, wanting to sit down and talk things through. "We need to talk face to face and figure out what comes next," M said. "You both love each other, but you have to communicate without all the anger." Yandy, ever the peacemaker, encouraged them to do just that. But with everything that's happened, it's clear the road ahead is tough. Yandy is giving her all to keep things together, but the emotional scars from this incident won't heal overnight. The pressure is on as the cameras roll, and fans are left wondering what's next for the Harris family. The Harris family's journey is far from over, and their drama continues to captivate audiences. We've all seen the messy ups and downs of their lives, and now we're witnessing their attempts to pick up the pieces. Will they make it through? It's hard to say, but one thing's for sure, their story is a powerful reminder of just how complicated family relationships can be. After a huge argument, M questions Yandy's decisions, asking why she's making big moves without involving him. But Yandy starts to realize something important. Maybe she doesn't need him to move forward. She's been carrying the weight of their relationship for so long, and now it's hitting her that she's stronger on her own. The fact that she never filed the paperwork for their marriage only makes this realization clearer. Even though she's always said she's loyal to him, Yandy is now showing that she won't let M stop her from chasing her dreams. Whether it's her career or her personal growth, she's done letting him hold her back. This isn't just about a couple facing trouble, it's about a woman finally finding her own power and figuring out what's next for herself. As viewers, we can't help but wonder, will they work it out, or will the Harris family story continue down a different path? On the reality show Love Hip Hop, there's always the question how much of what we see is real. Once the cameras stop rolling, the drama doesn't always end. Take Yandy, for example. While she plays the role of the devoted wife on screen, behind closed doors, things aren't always as perfect as they seem. Some fans can't help but talk about how Yandy raised a child on her own when his dad was in prison, only to get so much drama in return. People are starting to question the relationship. Is Yandy really being faithful, or is something else going on? Mace's subtle comments have fans wondering, does he have issues with her involvement with the kid, or is he hinting at something else? It's tough to say for sure, but one thing is clear, the tension is real. Fans are divided on whether Yandy is stepping out on Mace or if they're just overthinking it, but the questions keep coming, and as the drama unfolds, we're all left wondering what's really going on behind the scenes. In the end, we've got to watch and wait. Will Yandy and Mace make it through this? Can they overcome the challenges, or is their family facing even bigger struggles? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over.